And then there was one. We see now bankster-style mergers to create an information monopoly happening here in the U.S. We have, and globally actually, as Kurt Nimmo points out, monopolizing the internet, Comcast gobbles up Time Warner. Now, Comcast is the largest media and communications transnational corporation in the world. And it announced today that it will absorb Time Warner, the world's second largest media and entertainment conglomerate. We saw this thing happen with banks. Back in 1998, Bank of America and NCNB merged, and it looked like they were not going to get approval from the government because it was the merger of two of the largest banks. It is unprecedented in what it was going to create. When they got approval and they merged in 1998, it set off a wave of consolidation, and 10 years later we had the failures that everybody knows, that the too big to fail banks. They are now also too big to jail. Well, this is what is happening already in media companies. Already, we only had about 5 large media companies. Now, the 2 largest ones are going to consolidate. And what does that mean? Look at some of the companies that this involves. In Time Warner, AOL, that includes companies like CNN, Warner Brothers, Turner Broadcasting, New Line Cinema, Castle Rock Entertainment. Those are some of the content providers. We also see in Comcast, then, they have NBC, Universal Pictures, of course, MGM, United Artists. They nearly took over Disney a few years ago. Now, all those content providers are going to combine. That's going to have some impact on the free flow of information. You can bet the mainstream media is going to get even more controlled, more monopolistic in its voice. But the other thing that's going to affect everybody is the control on the internet, because they are the biggest controller of internet service providers. We saw this with AT&T's broadband services were consumed into Comcast earlier. Now Time Warner, AOL, all of that is going to be combined together into one large controlled company. And that's going to have an impact on the cost that you pay for your internet, as well as whether or not you see that getting any faster. There's not going to be any competition to push that along. But it also has concern for what it's going to mean for the information that goes out there. I mean, who needs CISPA if you've got a company who is so closely joined to Washington at the hip? It's well known, as Kurt Nimmo points out, that Comcast has, quote, a wealth of connections in Washington, that essentially they own the FCC. So that's something to be very concerned about, the prospect that we're going to have hand-picked political apparatchiks deciding the fate of the internet without bias, on a par with a government-sanctioned monopoly doing basically the same thing. That's from Kurt Nimmo's article.